So today, I thought I'd talk about the idea, the question, does God care? It's a great question, isn't it? Does God care? I don't know. What are your thoughts? What do you think? If God is infinite, why would God care? You know what I'm saying? If God is infinite, why would God care? It's already you. I'm going to pursue this from a perspective of the science of mind. In the science of mind, God is seen as the source of all that is. God is love, intelligence, and creative power. The creative power operates through laws that are consistent and unchanging. In other words, in science of mind, we don't talk about God as a being. We don't anthropomorphize God. In other words, we don't give God human qualities. God is the infinite intelligence. Think about that. Infinite intelligence, total consciousness, everything created out of it, by it. So there's nothing that's not created out of God. There's no mind outside of God's mind, because if there were, then God could not be infinite. And we understand completely that there can only be one infinite, because if there were more, they would destroy themselves. So when you think about that, God is the source of all there is. And what is God? God is love. What does love not do? Love does not judge. How could God judge? Because all it could judge itself against is itself. And in God, there is no good, there is no bad, there just is. And where is all wisdom? With God, because there's the only place it can be. And where is the creative power? With God, it's the only place it can be. So then you and I are created out of it. So all of that is available to us. You see, in human terms, caring implies a personal and emotional involvement in how our lives turn out. In science of mind, we do not see God as a supreme being, but rather as infinite, unconditional support and presence of the divine in our lives. God has no emotional involvement in our lives. Zero. Why? Because it gave us freedom. The same gift it has. It has the freedom to create anything it wants, and it gave us the freedom to create our lives as we choose. Remember that law of cause and effect? That's right. That law is always responding. And because we do have a body, and we do have a mind, and we do experience duality, what we create, we feel. That's the big thing to understand. What we create, we feel. And our feelings tell us, are we in alignment with expansion? Are we in alignment with love? Are we in alignment with oneness? Or are we being self-centered and allowing the ego to control us and the body's sensations? One of the things I truly get is that we think that we can solve our problems with greater and greater sensory experiences. And the more we have, the more we want, because it can't fill a God-sized hole. The science of mind teaches the law of cause and effect. The law states our thoughts are creative and they shape our experiences. So think about that. That's our power. It's our power to think that creates. The greatest discovery that humans, the first humans ever made, was that they could think. The second greatest discovery was your thoughts create. The master teacher Jesus said that very clearly. He says, it is done unto you as you believe. Pure and simple. Right now, I'm in training to be a certified hypnotherapist. And the two things that are required for hypnotism to work, one is a deep rapport with the therapist. So they trust, they feel safe. The second is an emotionalized desire to change. If there's no emotionalized desire to change, change cannot happen. You see, our thoughts won't create because they're just simple thoughts. They're not evolved thoughts. You see, the science of mind does not teach that God intervenes in human affairs selectively, but we teach a God who has provided us with the creative power to shape our destiny through what? Our thoughts, beliefs, feelings, and actions. We align all of them up. And when they're aligned and we're persistent and consistent with it, oh my God, we are creative beings. Now, I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm asking you to look at your life and see if this works for you. How does it work for you? You may have a lot of thoughts and feelings. I'm poor. And you got a lot of emotion behind being poor. Guess what? You're creating poor. How do you get out of it? Use the law in the opposite way. Think of yourself as abundant and feel what it's like to be abundant. Attach that feeling to it and keep doing that over and over and over again. And listen, and you'll be guided by the internal wisdom within you to how you can bring a greater amount of service into the world. And the service you bring into the world will attract abundance that you seek. The science of mind teaches personal responsibility. And this is the thing that scares people away, because people today, more than ever, do not want to be responsible. You see, while God, universal mind, provides us the potential and the power, it is up to each of us as individuals to consciously use. So you can't create someone else's life. You can create your life. They have to create their life. So you can be caring toward another individual, but you can't care about their end result. That's pretty cold, isn't it? But think about it. Do you have any control? Absolutely none. So does God have control of your life? No, because you're it, and it gave you freedom to express itself. You are a microcosm of the macrocosm. So does God care from a human perspective? No, because God gave you personal responsibility. But this does not mean you're alone and unsupported, but rather it highlights the immediate and always present divine power and intelligence within us, giving us the ability to co-create our reality. Christians call it the Holy Spirit. What I say is that the Holy Spirit is the fact that no matter where we are, what we've done, where we go, the power to change, the power to create our lives, the intelligence to use is always right where we are. All we have to do is become aware that it is, and then to use it in alignment with how the law of cause and effects works. Realizing that God is not going to do anything for us, we're inspired from within to recognize and understand the infinite power within us and others. And that if we want to change our lives, it's up to us, and we must become proficient in using the law of cause and effect. I love that the power is in me. I love that I don't seek to please a being outside of myself. How silly would that be? If there was an infinite power and presence, would it need to be worshiped? See, we've actually bastardized the word worship. Worship doesn't mean to get down on your knees in front of someone, beg and plead. Worship means to study the life, to study God, to study the infinite, to study how it works, to study your relationship with it, to study how you can use the powers. Whoa, now that's a power of worship, isn't it? That I can do. But to sit and praise something outside of myself, I'm sorry. I rebelled against that when I was 15, and I'm not going to change because it doesn't make sense. And I believe that things should make sense. You see, realizing that God expresses itself through each of us inspires us to practice compassion, love, understanding, knowing that we are all expressions of the same divine mind. If you knew that your partner was going through a journey of self-discovery and their journey was different than yours, would you be understanding? Yeah. Would you be caring? Yeah. Would you be supportive? Yeah. Isn't that the greatest way you can be with anything and anyone? Oh my God. God expresses through each of us, no matter who. I don't care what political party, I don't care what religion, I don't care what sex, I don't care what ethnicity. Everyone is an individualization of the one. And isn't it time we started to understand that? At the core of what we are, we have no sex, we have no religion, we have no political party, we have no body. We're consciousness. So does God care? From a science of mind perspective, the answer is a resounding yes, but in a way that transcends human limitations and emotions. God cares by being the very essence of life, love, and intelligence that sustains us. It cares by empowering us with the creative power of thought so that we can shape our experiences and live a fulfilling life, a life that fulfills us. We come again back to the statement I say all the time. Remember, everything begins and ends with you. Do you care enough to take that on? Do you care enough to be powerful? Do you care enough to be loving and compassionate? Those are questions you have to answer. Choose wisely, my friends.